Namaskar, everyone. Welcome to day 26. Yesterday we dealt with the power centers within you. That your soul operates through these centers. Of course, we have 6 major centers through which it operates. And I said that the crown is the destination. It provides the infinite consciousness as a source of everything, as your background. So your essence is infinite consciousness, infinite being. That's your essence. So the soul in its the soul in its essence is infinite, boundless, a source of all possibilities, source of all energy. And you are that. You're nothing else but that. But for the play, infinite consciousness had to create infinite energy. And when we personalize that, then we put a Shiva and a Shakti. And sometimes also it's called, in some of the traditions, Purusha and Prakriti. Prakriti being the nature. So, in a way, infinite consciousness had to create an energy being out of itself, and then there's a relationship between the two, relationship between consciousness and energy. So infinite consciousness and infinite energy are one. That's how you're made up. The source of your being is infinite in its consciousness and infinite in its energy. And you can see in our society how we struggle to provide energy for all these countries across the world. And yet, in the essence of life itself, energy is boundless. And some people resonate with that. So much so that they speak about the free energy that is everywhere. We only need to tap it. So they're speaking about that infinite energy that's coming from the infinite consciousness. Their soul knows. And we are not yet ready for those souls who will be born to bring the technology. We're not yet ready for that because the yuga is still dark. And it needs to be dark for the play. So we still struggle in our search for medicines, our seeking to heal, and we are still in the crude level with a lot of tamas surrounding the knowledge, a lot of ignorance, a lot of minds are not open. And so these great beings yet to come, they're not born yet with the kind of intelligence to transform the world. So you see, on the social stage, a lot to be desired. In the medical field, the same. In every field, because of the yuga. Nothing else but the yuga. So as we go more and more, as we spiral up, the yugas, the cosmic ages, more sattva is going to come. So hence it's important to understand these qualities of nature. These gunas that we speak about, the gunas of Prakriti, or Kundalini. Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Tamas is the veiling power. So the more and more she veiled herself in the evolutionary process, the more and more tamas we got. So she's veiling herself with her energies. into different levels of existence, different layers of energy, more and more dense as we go. And you can feel that. The lower you go, the more dense it is. The higher you go, the more light it is. The more buoyant, light. More weightless. And if you look at the way the chakras are, because the chakras are the involutionary stages, every chakra gets more and more dense, more and more tamasic. And as we go upward, more and more sattvic. So we need to follow this sattva and tamas. So in the evolutionary process, she became more and more tamasic. She just veiled her consciousness at every stage. She veiled the infinite mind, she veiled the infinite space, she veiled the infinite energy of touch, she veiled all of them. That's who we are, infinite consciousness, totally veiled with the veil slowly being lifted. We call that veil Maya's veil. The illusionary veil that is there for the play. Everything is a play. The universal consciousness holds everything in its being and the universal energy. And there is complete justice in the divine system. In the human system, it may not be so, because sometimes we execute people and it's a mistake. Only years after we find out. Or we jail people for a lifetime and then we free them afterwards because we made a mistake. Not so in the divine system. Everyone pays for the misdeeds. But it's not punitive, really. They are being given the experience of misery to grow. And the moment they can realize it, they're free. So these guna qualities have been a part of the play. The veiling is part of the play. So if you put on a veil and you really understand that it's a veil, then the assurance is there that this veil is going to come off. This veil is going to come off. And either you can stay in the veil and play, if you have enough sattva, and understand the play, or you can stay in the tamas and just allow yourself to experience misery and pain. All up to you. She's giving you free will. To stay in tamas or to go to sattva. What are you doing with that free will that you have? Of course, it's clouded by the veil, but you still have the free will. Free will has to be driven by sattva, by qualities of the light. And they are in your soul. Love, compassion, kindness are in your soul. They're in your soul. They're hidden if you don't see them. And when they're hidden, guess what? The other side comes up. The tamasic side. Aggression. Uncontrolled passion. Manipulation. And you know the rest. Anger, jealousy, pride. They're all because of the veil and the tamasic nature of the veil. So the goal is to remove the tamas from every level. That's what the goal is. That's the goal of the play. Removing the tamas from every level, that is sattva. The sattva can be revealed. The sattva quality of the qualities of the light. That's the goal. When the tamas is there, the will is weak. The consciousness is compromised. So what do? If you have enough sattva to create a noble intent. I want to grow in the light. If you have enough sattva, even though the tamas is holding you, and it will continue to hold you for quite a while. If you have enough sattva to see, oh my God, why am I carried away by these negative qualities? Why? No, I want to come out of it. And we begin to make the choice to step out of the negative. The anger, the aggression, the pride, the jealousy, the greed, the hate. When we make a choice, a conscious choice to come out of it, we open ourselves to more sattva coming through grace. The field begins to open up for us. And the knowledge begins to come to us as to how to use the rajas quality. The rajas quality brings discipline. It brings desire. It brings will. It brings determination. It brings motivation. It brings curiosity. That's what rajas does. But those qualities I speak about, they are sattvic qualities. So we need to drive that rajas. We need to use the rajas to drive, but through sattvic intent. That's why we need to associate with masters and evolved souls. They are born for that purpose. They are in the earth plane for that purpose. And there are not many in the world today, simply because the world is so dark. So these masters are born, and some are hidden, and some are visible. But the Kundalini Shakti, she protects them wherever they are. And some masters, like in the Kali Yuga, she couldn't protect, like Jesus' story. She just had to go through the process because it was a really painful and powerful play. But he knew, and he allowed himself to be suffered. So that's the reason why he is such a great avatar. He came in a dark time. So only the greatest souls can come in the dark times and really manage that suffering to the extent that the play requires. That's the greatness of Jesus the Christ. Coming into the darkest of Yuga. And of course, the story of the Buddha as well, he was poisoned. His last meal. But such a great soul. So we need to associate with those evolved souls if we want to grow. We need to study their words until the words make sense, until we resonate with it, until we feel our sattvic quality developing more and our will begins to become stronger so that we can move rajas quality, that we can use that rajas quality that is in our nature to grow. And that's why we have centers like this that allow us to stay in the sattva. And that's why I create a discipline. When you come here, there's a discipline through the day. Otherwise, you get caught in the tamas. We need the powerful rajas to drive the play. So throughout the day, there's a discipline here. Now let me get to the practicality of it. Now you know that the mind is the first driver. It is the mind that associates with every other chakra. So the ego is in the mental field. And the ego is using the instruments. The intellect, which is the most powerful instrument in the play, the navigator. It's using manas, the quality of thought. And then it's going to associate with all the other chakras for the play. It will open the heart and use emotion. It will go to the main chakra, the brow, the ego, which is the infinite consciousness veiled. The ego will go to the manipura for the qualities of action. Then it will go to the sacral for propagation in the field. And then we'll go to the root for the grounding in the field. Of course, when I say that I ground there, my voice comes from there. Everything comes from there when I consciously ground there. So the mind is the most important part of you. If the mind is compromised, all the chakras are compromised. And if you begin to clean the mind, you are cleaning every chakra essentially. By cleaning the mind alone, you can clean every chakra. That's why we have what is called the yoga of wisdom, Gyan Yoga. They clean the mind only. And they clean up all the others because of that. But they have a personality. They are the wisdom bearers. Their bodies might not be the best. Their well-being might not be the best. Because they sacrifice all of that for wisdom. And then but this mind, if it wishes, it can use any of the other chakras to create a persona for the play. Loving being, martial arts. Some people choose the part of sexuality. It's a dangerous part because it's so pleasurable. They get caught in it. But some great masters may even choose that path. But in the dark yoga, it's not too healthy. And then the root, those who are involved in the hatha yoga, the martial arts, they learn how to shine in the root, master the sacred and bring out the beauty of its energy, and they use the power of the Manipura. Admirable. So once then the mind can be cleaned up from all these areas. When the mind starts working, the mind can clean every area. So the mind necessarily needs to bring out the best in every chakra. The mind. So you need now to use the mind to open up the consciousness space and use every other level in support. Every other level is meant for support because ultimately you're going to move from all the other levels and come to the mind and then traverse to infinite self. So the mind is a starter, the mind stays with the whole process, and the mind ends the journey. Of course, when I say the mind, it is the ego mind. The mind, the ego mind, begins the journey of uncovering. The mind begins to desire, or the ego begins to desire, using its mind and imagination, the sattva quality. And it begins to use the rajas to open up to more and more sattva. Most beautiful process. But the beauty of Mahayoga is that when you find the inner guide and work with her, she supports you through the whole evolutionary process until total uncovering. That's the most beautiful journey. That has been my journey. That is your journey. But I don't want to consume the rest in today's talks. It will be tomorrow. The uncovering, the journey through sattva in the uncovering, the perfect use of the rajas quality, developing the will to transform the tamas. And if you look at Shiva, the dancing Shiva, you will see tamas is like down. The little demon is down, representing the tamasic quality, and Shiva is dancing in tamas. Shows the play, the beauty of the play. Tamas has to go back. In the evolutionary process, tamas has to go down. Sattva has to grow up. That's the beauty of the play. The play is reflected in you, in the tamasic qualities in you, in the rajasic power in you, in the sattvic essence that you have. How do you unveil that? How do you become the best that you can be? How can you become a blessing to the world that you're around? How can you become a light and be purposeful for the evolution of our world in this moment? How can you be? You need to be a blessing. You need to be a divine instrument. You need to transform yourself first that the things around you can be transformed. World transformation depends on self-transformation. It's not going to happen if we don't transform ourselves. Our spaces are not going to be transformed. Our families are not going to be transformed. Our villages are not going to be transformed. Our world is not going to be transformed. It begins with us. So as much as you can in our meditation today, let's open up the sattva at every level. I'll deal with more practical details tomorrow. But as much as you can use your willpower at every center, as much as your consciousness opens up to the experience of these centers, use your willpower to open up to more sattvic qualities in the play. Love and compassion and kindness. And know that the mind is the most important. You have to open the mind to see. The ego must see that the tamasic quality is holding it down. It's holding it down. And it needs to seek more sattva, more desire more sattva. And use the willpower with as much sattva that it has to open up to more and more sattva. In the meditation, you get support. I'm in your inner space. I speak with a voice in this outer space, but I'm with you in the inner space. You can feel that. The space is different. Let's go in the inner space. Know that you're totally supported in the inner space. By infinite consciousness, through all those souls who live in the light. Let's be strengthened by their light until our own light can shine brighter. Let's go within, everybody. Let's slowly come back into body awareness. Bring more oxygen into your lungs. I did that already in the last few minutes of my meditation. Do it your own way until you can feel that the senses are more alert and energized. You can feel a taste in the mouth. You can smell better, hear better, see better. We go into an active world, so you need a body to be energized. The more you stay in your soul being, the less your body will get what it needs for activity. So you need to pranitize it. And when your spinal column is free, then you can bring the prana to any chakra at will with the easiest of movements, even the mind. So you need a clear spinal column. So we do the Om sound. Breathing out through the mouth, in through the nose. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. As we enter the field of activity today, remember that it's a journey from the tamas to the sattva using the rajas. Rajas we're going to use in our various activities today. Rajas is the quality of action, movement. Ensure that it's sattvic driven and not tamasic driven, sattvic vision. So you need the soul consciousness to support that. Your soul must want to evolve more into sattva, to be more in the light. And the soul needs to recognize the darkness in the play, the darkness that comes from everywhere around you, because it's a dark yuga still. The people who irritate you, the people who challenge you, the people in whose company you don't feel totally comfortable. Don't react, because you become tamasic when you react. Create a field of sattva around you, love and light. And as much as you can in your actions, use sattva. Speak humbly, because it is the universe that you, whether it's the challenger, it's the universe. She's greeting you through the tamas. And then begin to play with it, to see how you can attract more sattva into the play, because sattva is outside there too. See how when you begin your day, you'll attract more sattva. And if you think sattva, you hold sattva in your inner being, you're going to attract sattva in the play. And if perchance you attract tamasic behavior in the play, know that your sattva attracted that. It can be for two purposes. One is to test your sattva, if it's shaky. And secondly, is to be an instrument of support to the person whose behavior is tamasic. So the universe may use you as a sattvic instrument to really challenge the one with your light, who is in the darkness. So you do that humbly and kindly, knowing that the divine is behind you, because you are in the mode of instrument of the divine. So you need to be wise in the play. So wisdom in the play requires an intellect driven by sattva. Your mental processing must be driven by sattva, nobility. So it's important to really extend your sadhana into the world. The world is meant to be a place of sadhana, not just sitting in this beautiful little hall. You need to meet with the world. But you meet the world intelligently, wisely. Be wise in action. And then throughout it, look at every level of being. Be conscious of every chakra that you're using. Because you're using all your senses. So naturally you're using chakras. Taste relates to second chakra. Seeing relates to the gut chakra. Touching relates to the heart. The more you open your heart, the more your touch is sattvic. And sound relates to all the chakras. You can bring anything to this chakra of sound. And communication. So the hearing, the tasting, the smelling, the seeing, the touching, all needs to be energized by sattva. So when you go into a place, if you're cooking food, put the sattva into it. If you're talking to someone, leave them with a gift of sattva. Encourage them to be more noble. And if they're weak in their nobility, you be the example, you be strong in yours as you meet humbly with them. But use every one of your senses honorably. And you have the power of thought, even though you can't be in Ukraine today. But your thought power can be there. Oh, the places where they are suffering across the world. For those of you who become interested in that and learning where the challenging places are across the world, where tamasic behavior is challenging sattvic behavior. No, stay with the sattva. It's where growth comes. When I look at the mass destruction of spaces in Ukraine, I'm saying, oh my God, how long is it going to take to build this back? But, like Germany, like Japan, come together, we build, we unite, and we become stronger. So there's always a lesson. And not only are people being challenged across the world, but nature itself. Animals. We're wiping out species thoughtlessly. We need to support a healthy ecological system. So be careful in how you burn fuel. Be careful in how you use plastics. Be careful in how you use all those processed things. Be careful, be careful. They undermine your well-being. So use your sense of good judgment. Live wisely. Live holistically. All of your being, your multidimensional nature. And live in love. The most nurturing chakra is the love chakra. Whether it's to your spouse, whether it's to your children, whether it's to your parents, whether it's to the masters. Love, love, love. Love is a savior. Have a blessed 26th day, everyone, on this journey of 40 days. Namaskar.